Hello and welcome back to my channel for a case today that is close to my heart. This one is set in Northern Ireland, where obviously you would all know I'm from, and it covers the case of 14-year-old Noah Donohoes. There has been some upsetting news come to light recently, just yesterday, about this case. Coincidentally, I had been doing more research on this case recently, following calls from Noah's mother Fiona for people to start asking why, to start questioning things concerning aspects of Noah's disappearance, how he was found, what the narrative has been up to this stage, unanswered questions. And as I say, unfortunately yesterday some news did come to light regarding a potential suspect to this case. I will get there for you, but first of all, if you're not aware, I'm going to tell you the story of Noah Donohoes. So Noah was born on the 25th of November 2005. He lived in Belfast with his mum Fiona and attended St Malachy's College. His mum was very much doting about her son, as us mothers tend to be. She believed fully that Noah had the ability to change the world. And it didn't seem that it was just Noah's mother that had the views of him that she had. He was all round very liked, very well respected young man. He was a talented musician. He played the cello and the guitar. He loved rugby and basketball and played for his school. And the school said about Noah's caring nature, calm demeanour and big smile were some of his great gifts that helped others do their best. They did go on to make other comments about him. He was just very well liked, well respected, and seemed like a genuinely really decent, down-to-earth, lovely young man. So the events surrounding Noah's disappearance, we go back to just over a year ago, to the 21st of June 2020. It's a Sunday, it's about 5:30 in the evening, and Noah tells his mother that he's going to cycle to the Cave Hill area of Belfast to meet two friends, and they're going to work together on a school project to get extra marks. I had seen elsewhere that this was a Duke of Edinburgh award. In some notifications it says that it was a school project, but either way he set off to meet his friends. Noah's mother was very protective of her son, as I can completely relate to, having a son not much younger than Noah was. So when he headed off, she asked him within an hour to message her to let her know that he'd got there okay. And Noah was a very, very dependable young man. He always came home when he said, he always did as he was told. He would always message his mother to let him know where he was and if he was doing okay. But Fiona, his mum, waited for an hour and hadn't heard anything from Noah. She'd had that sort of time scale, it would be about an hour, he would contact her. She tried ringing his phone over and over again but was getting no reply. And this was not Noah. This just was completely out of character. So she said she knew immediately then in her gut that something was badly wrong. She contacted his friends and discovered that Noah had never actually made it to meet his friends, and it was at this stage that she came to the realisation that something horrible or terrible must have happened to her son. So obviously immediately Fiona contacts the police and a search is launched. So many people are involved in this. We have members of the community, we have the police, we have dogs, we have water rescue, we have helicopters, and we also have an organisation called the Community Rescue Service. They actually did a programme about this recently called The Search, which is available on BBC iPlayer if you would like to watch that, and it does cover their search for Noah. There were a lot of people, literally hundreds of people searching for him. This search started on the Sunday night that Noah disappeared, and they searched right through the morning, through into the Monday morning. And as yet, nothing had been found of Noah. What they needed to do first of all was obviously go right back to that Sunday evening when he left home. What was he wearing? What direction did he go? So they ascertained that when Noah left home at 5:30 on the Sunday evening, he had on a black cycle helmet, he was wearing grey shorts, a blue tie-dye top, he had a khaki North Face jacket on, he had Nike trainers with a very vivid yellow tick on the side, and he had a khaki rucksack. Inside the rucksack was his laptop and some school books, as he was going to be doing work on this project with his friends, and he obviously had his phone with him also. So what follows is basically a timeline of where Noah was at what time, which has been put together both by CCTV footage and witnesses that saw him at different stages of his journey. So I will be reading some of the information here off screen to make sure I don't make any errors. So pardon me looking off to the side. So it was established first of all that Noah left his home on Sunday 21st at 5:41 p.m. on his bicycle. He travelled along the Ormer Road at 5:42 towards the city centre before cycling through Victoria Square at 5:49 p.m. Corn Market, now that's right slap bang in the middle of Belfast city centre, I know it so well. High Street and Royal Avenue at 5:50 p.m. The journey is captured on city centre CCTV, and Noah is seen with his bag. He's still got his bag at this stage, containing his laptop and some books. He's alongside the Art College near the corner of York Street and Frederick Street at 5:53 p.m. No one else is in the area at all at that time. Subsequent CCTV footage obtained by the police shows Noah travelling towards York Gate, by which stage he is clearly seen to not have his bag. Now, that bag was discovered by a member of the public sometime later, but there are circumstances concerning that which will come to light. CCTV footage confirmed that the individual who took the bag was a number of miles away when Noah was last seen with the bag at or about the Art College. That has got relevance because this person that found the bag didn't hand the bag in. I will get to that. So obviously he would be a suspect here, but it is proven that he wasn't in the vicinity at the time that Noah was last seen. The individual is being investigated for the offence under the Theft Act, and the police will deal with this matter separately. Noah then travelled across York Street, crossing Great Patrick Street and the motorway before turning left into Brougham Street and then right along North Queen Street, and this was 5:57 p.m. Noah's mobile phone was actually also found by a member of the public close to a children's play park in North Queen Street. At 6 p.m, as Noah cycled toward the Grove Wellbeing Centre, he fell from his bicycle just before the junction with the Shore Road. A motorist stopped to assist, but Noah got back on his bike, and at 6:01 he continued along the Shore Road without his green coat. This item of clothing has not been recovered. At just before 6:02, Noah is seen entering Northwood Crescent from Skegoneel Avenue. Apologise, I don't know the pronunciation of that. He is wearing a black cycling helmet, a blue hoodie, grey shorts and black trainers. So at this stage, he doesn't have his coat, his bag and his mobile phone. Noah's cycling helmet is found by a member of the public between 17 and 23 Northwood Road. Some of the remaining clothes were discovered by a member of the public lying on a wall at 63 Northwood Road. At 6:03 p.m, Noah is seen a short distance away outside 85 Northwood Road without any clothes. He is seen on the CCTV footage from the person that lives in that home to go between numbers 89 and 91 Northwood Road, which leads to an area of waste ground behind the houses. Now, I did read that a person had spoken to the police. They had seen Noah cycle past their house completely naked and had called their husband to come and see this. By the time the husband had got to the window, Noah was gone, but his bike was actually abandoned, just lying on the street outside. We do have a lady that lives in the same street, I believe. It has to be, because the reports are completely conflicting if not. And she said that she saw the bike lying outside on the road. She didn't actually see Noah. The bike was laid behind her car. She picked it up and put it to the side. Obviously she had to leave to go to work the next day. And as someone that lives in an area with a lot of kids, she just assumed what you would. Some kid had just left the bike down, had gone into a friend's house, would be back to pick it up. That happens all the time around where I live. So she gets up the next morning expecting the bike to be gone, and it's still there. Now, this is just the morning after Noah has gone missing. She goes to work, and then in the course of her day she discovers that there's a missing boy, that Noah is missing, and she immediately contacts the police and lets them know about the bike. Now, as we said already, the lady that has the CCTV footage said that she saw the bike abandoned in the middle of the road. This lady is saying she saw the bike behind her car. Now, perhaps that's the same sighting, in the middle of the road behind her car. Maybe it's been in the middle of the physical road and a motorist has maybe just pushed it to the side for safety's sake, and it's been behind this other lady's car. So this is where we know that Noah has abandoned his bike, as this lady has seen him on CCTV, and then we see the bike in the road. So we know that at this stage Noah has discarded his laptop, his phone, his jacket, and then his clothes and helmet were found further back that road, and then he has abandoned the bike. And they feel that he's headed to an area around the back of the houses. Now, at the back of those houses there is a storm drain. Now, the storm drain is very extensive underground. It runs, I think, for 1 kilometre, it says. I think it's like a network of drains. So what's then believed widely to have happened, because there isn't any more sighting of Noah, is that he went to the back of those houses and entered a storm drain, which had been left unlocked. Now, you may ask, why is a 14-year-old boy cycling through Belfast completely nude? We all know how we were at 14 years old. My God, we wouldn't do it now. But what was that all about? Why is he going into a storm drain? What we're told very early on is that the initial fall that Noah had off his bike, he sustained a head injury which left him not knowing what he was doing. He had concussion. He'd stripped his clothes off purely because he just did not know what he was physically doing. And that's the same reason that he entered the storm drain around the back of these houses. So the search for Noah actually continued for a further 6 days. And unfortunately, 6 days later, on the 27th of June at 9:45 in the morning, Noah's body is discovered in the same storm drain that he is suspected of having entered on the same evening of his disappearance. He was found 950 metres into that storm drain, and obviously, as I said previously, completely nude. And at this stage still, the police and Superintendent Clark reiterated that no foul play was expected, no third party was involved, and that any rumours that were circulating online were unsubstantiated and unhelpful to the investigation. They believed they were not looking for another person, that this was very simply the tragic case of a young boy. He fell from his bike, he gained a head injury, and he had wandered into the storm drain not entirely knowing what he was doing.
But there is no evidence to suggest foul play.
Now, there are so many questions to ask here. It's very hard to put this story across to you completely in a really straightforward timeline. There are other channels that obviously do that. I will link one below in the comments that is very helpful with regards to timelines and specific dates and specific happenings. But the purpose of my video really is just to discuss what's happened, what the news is, what was said at the time, what's really impossible to believe, and that's what I'm here to do with you today. So as I said, the storm drain that Noah was found within, he was found 950 metres back into that. That is quite a long way. So the search in this storm drain had actually commenced very soon after Noah had actually gone missing, and this had taken a team this length of time to locate Noah. And Noah, a young boy who's frightened of the dark, had managed to get this far into this storm drain on his own, which is apparently extremely difficult to navigate. They needed torches because it's pitch black. As I said, also, Noah did not know the area. He wouldn't have knew the drain was there. He'd never been to that area before. So at this stage, we have the body of a young 14-year-old boy found 950 metres into a completely black, very difficult to reach storm drain that has taken rescuers numerous days to actually find him. The police and Superintendent Clark are still stating that there is no foul play there. What I can't understand is how they can be so confident that there's no foul play when they don't know what happened at all. Really, they should have come out and said, we're puzzled, we don't know what's happening. But from the start, the narrative was very much, we just don't know. But from the start, the narrative was very much no foul play, no one else is expected, no third party. Everything was pointing towards Noah having a head injury and just basically doing this because he didn't know what he was doing. Now remember, he was seen fall from the bike, or someone matching his description was seen fall from the bike by a witness, but he immediately got back up and rode off again. I would imagine if you sustain a head injury serious enough to make you completely not know what you're doing, you're not going to get up immediately. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but I say that for a reason, because we get to the post-mortem. So at this stage, everything is being kept from Noah's family. Any investigation that's happening is very much being done in secret. No news has been given, nothing seems to have been discovered. All they'll say is no foul play is expected, and we're resting on this head injury diagnosis of the situation. But then the post-mortem results are published, and it's found that Noah has died from drowning, and there is no significant head injury. So for that head injury to be bad enough to actually contribute towards these actions now makes no sense. But still, Superintendent Clark comes forward and says no foul play expected, no third party involvement. We're expected to believe that a young teenage boy has stripped naked and has climbed into a storm drain in an area of Belfast that he did not know, and no foul play is suspected. It doesn't make sense. The family and the mother said there's no way this has been a mental health issue, a psychotic break, a mental breakdown. He wasn't exhibiting anything of the like. He had not had any history of mental illness. There was nothing found in his system to say that he had taken a drug or anything like that. So all we know is that he died of drowning. Now, inexorably, I cannot explain to you why this is the case unless this is being hidden in the media. The water in Noah's lungs were not tested against the water in the storm drain to say if he died there or if indeed he died somewhere else. Is it possible that he was put into the storm drain in an unconscious state and the water at the bottom of the drain, he was face down, he would have drowned? We don't know, but how the police can so confidently keep reiterating that no foul play is suspected when no one knows what happened has always raised questions with the public and with Noah's family. And how are we expected not to speculate when the entire investigation is so non-transparent and so secretive? If they had a suspect in mind and it was a potential murder inquiry, then we could perhaps understand the secrecy, all evidence being kept hush-hush. But the police in this case thinks that just this boy had a terrible accident, but still they will not share any evidence, including with the family. It was many, many months later that the family actually first viewed the CCTV footage that they have of Noah. They have 8 minutes of footage where he's riding his bike. But in the final leg of Noah's journey, a distance that should take 2.5 minutes to actually cycle actually took 10 minutes. So there is 7.5 minutes there unaccounted for, where this is the last leg of Noah's journey. We don't know. There's like these blind spots of, well, what's happened during this time? The police have later said that the timestamp on the CCTV footage was incorrect. It should have read a different time, so the final sighting of Noah would not be 6:11 as we had previously been told, but it was either 6:08 or potentially 6:03. Obviously we are taking the police's word for this. It obviously doesn't fit in with the narrative that they're providing. That could well be the case. I don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just finding it very hard to understand how there are so many unanswered questions in this case. Also, nothing has been released with regard to the GPS for Noah's phone. Has that answered any questions? And we move on to the laptop. The laptop is in the rucksack that we have been told was discarded by Noah. Now, we didn't see him discarding it. We just know that in one CCTV frame he had it, and in the next one where he's picked up, he does not have the bag. Now, this was said to be found by an individual called Darrell Paul. This individual has a history of petty offences, of theft mainly, and he, I suppose, thought this was his lucky day. He found this laptop, and he gave the laptop to a female friend for safeguard. I don't know why you would do that, but he did. He was actually trying to sell this laptop to cash converters, and he also offered this for sale to someone at a party. Now, one of the individuals he offered this laptop for sale actually contacted the police. He was able to tell the police that this individual had the laptop, had the rucksack, and had books with Noah's name on. Now, what I don't understand is the person that took the rucksack claims not to have known that it belonged to Noah, and of course I would have went to the police had I known. Well then, how did the person that he tried to sell it to know that the books in the bag had Noah's name on? I smell a rat. But this guy basically is an opportunist thief, it seems, which is why the fact that he was seen elsewhere at the time that something happened to Noah, we're saying he's not a suspect. It doesn't mean he potentially doesn't know someone who is involved, but this guy has got a history of petty offences. He is an opportunist, he found it, he tried to sell it. The police did eventually get it back. But again, nothing really has been released that's of any use from the laptop. Whether the police didn't find anything of any use on there, or whether this is again something that's been kept secretive, no one knows at this stage. So on the 1st of July, Noah's funeral takes place, and the turnout is absolutely incredible from all sides of the community. Everyone's there to show support to Noah's family and just to voice their sorrow at what's happened to this lovely young man. And still, the police say that no foul play is suspected. At this stage, the post-mortem has indicated that there's no head injury, that there's no drugs in his system. We know that he doesn't have any history of mental illness, so a mental break can be ruled out. We have no idea why a young teenage boy has stripped all his clothes off and has supposedly taken himself into a storm drain in an area of Belfast he was not familiar with. One of the biggest questions is, why was Noah in this area in the first place? Noah was heading to Cave Hill in Belfast to meet friends to work on a school project. But what needs to be talked about and what isn't, and unfortunately it's just a truth. In Northern Ireland we do have a lot of sectarian issues. We have difficulties within members of different communities. Before I say anything, I want to start by saying I support neither side of the debate with regards to paramilitaries, with regards to anyone in any paramilitary organisation on either side. I like to believe I have a very open-minded approach to this. Something people really do not want to talk about is the rumours that there could have been involvement from people from a paramilitary organisation because he was a Catholic in the wrong area of Belfast. Could there have been an element of racism within this, even at all? You know, there was actually reported a supposed assault. Someone was seen assaulting Noah. Now this came out via the solicitor of Noah's family earlier this year. It said they were going on a statement given by someone, but they believe that the homeless community in a certain area and people with dependency issues in a specific area would have knowledge of this and would have seen something, and they're asking for further information to be given. But they feel that some harm came to Noah and perhaps he was running away from someone. That's unsubstantiated at this stage. It's something that the solicitor said to the media. A lot has happened surrounding that issue. It has also been said that during the actual search, the police asked for members of the public not to search, actually dissuaded them from searching, which never normally happens. The public are encouraged to help, but in this case the police actually asked members of the public not to help. And it has been said, and I don't know if this is the case, if it isn't, it has been said by people that assisted in the search for Noah that they were asked to get out of the particular area they were searching in, again because it was one side of the community in the other community's area. I'm not pointing fingers at all for a second, but it's something that other people don't really want to say when they discuss this, and it's something that we need to say. I would be saying exactly the same situation if a young boy was in a highly Republican area and some wrong had come to him. I would be saying exactly the same thing. I have no time for that on either side. Just let me get you clear on that before you think what you want to think. But that has been reported. I do feel that's important to include. I know it's a very sensitive subject, but it needs to be included in this case, especially with what I'm going to go on to tell you. So with what I had researched to that point, I've left quite a lot out because I want to talk about one main thing here, the update. The questions I was left with before this update was announced yesterday were the storm drain and how Noah was actually able to get 950 metres into that when supposedly it was an extremely difficult environment and it was pitch black and he was scared of the dark. That storm drain was searched the week before and it wasn't locked. But someone came back and saw that the lock was not on that storm drain and put a padlock on the drain on the 24th of June. Noah went missing on the 21st of June and was not discovered until the 27th, which means that padlock went on that storm drain while he was inside undiscovered. So when a 14-year-old boy goes missing in any city, I am sure that everyone is very much aware of it. And with Noah, the whole country was very much aware that he was missing. In this specific area that they knew that he had been seen near, someone finds a storm drain with no cover padlock and they padlock it up and don't search it. That raises questions. Also, how did they discover at this critical time that that storm drain did not have a cover lock on? It's all very questionable. It's maybe a coincidence, but everything's being kept so secretive and non-transparent that people are speculating, people are asking questions. So that's the first question. In the week prior to his disappearance, it was very, very dry. It was a very sunny, dry week. So people have said the storm drain wouldn't have been flooded, which was actually one of the reasons that was given from the police, that the storm drain was entirely flooded. People said it wouldn't have been. It was completely dry the week before. As a matter of fact, the week before it had an inspection. People had been down there, so that raises questions. The next one is a really odd one. Noah's mother had been told by the police that a leaflet drop had been done around homes in the area where Noah had gone missing, and she asked repeatedly to see this, and it just seemed like excuse after excuse. And eventually they told her, I think they said that they'd run out of leaflets, they'd used them all, and eventually someone actually admitted to his mum that they hadn't done the leaflet drop at all. that, I mean, really, that just raises all kinds of questions for me. Another question which was raised is why is this Superintendent Clark and everyone else so completely and utterly convinced that no foul play happened here or there is no third party involvement when it seems like they haven't a clue what happened? If you don't know what happened, how can you be so sure what didn't happen? That raises questions, but those questions, have they been answered? There has been an update yesterday in this case which may provide all the answers to what happened to Noah. So okay, what is the update? Yesterday it was reported in the media, widespread over Northern Ireland, that a ex-prisoner had come forward to private investigators that were like independent investigators who have been investigating Noah's death and disappearance, that he had a friend in prison, a cellmate, that actually admitted to him that he abducted and killed Noah. He was in his friend's cell and his friend broke down, was extremely agitated and upset and said that he had seen Noah cycling naked. He had taken him, he had bundled him into his car, he had driven him to a predominantly loyalist area of Belfast where he had taken him into a flat where he was further assaulted and murdered. This individual does have a history of violent offences, and he claims to have been assisted by other individuals in disposing of Noah's body. The individual said that he had been in the North Belfast area in the afternoon of June the 21st. They were going to carry out a punishment beating to a sex offender in the area when they had spotted Noah on his bike, and they had bundled him into the car and had done what they did. He is said to have been extremely agitated and extremely upset when he made this confession to the prisoner that he considered was his friend. This individual is known to have links to loyalist paramilitaries in Belfast. I don't think he's actually a member himself, but he has been known to have links. This information has been released under disclosure from the coroner's office, and they have a lot to get through. It is believed that the police and the investigators are taking this information seriously. There's also believed to be an unidentified car seen in the area where Noah went missing on the day of his disappearance that they are also looking into. Noah's mother Fiona now feels that perhaps they're finally closer to receiving answers for what happened to her beautiful boy, and hopefully, although this is an absolutely horrendous and terrible idea that this could have happened to Noah, I think that his mother has known all along that something happened to her son. And although if this is the case, it's a horrendous thought for her to have, at least she will have answers. At least there will be an opportunity for some justice surrounding the loss of her son. I did stay away from this case previously as it is a local one, it's very recent and you don't really want to upset family members, but Noah's mother Fiona has asked people to ask why, to get this out here, to have people asking questions, to have people saying, why have we so many unanswered questions? Why is everything being kept from us? And then in the process, obviously, of researching this, the news broke yesterday that we have this confession. Is it true? We don't know at this stage, but I'm hoping for Noah's family's sake that they finally have the answers they've been searching. And finally, just to make you aware that there is a Noah Donohoes Foundation set up by his mum, and it grants support to children and young people from all areas of the community in Northern Ireland. There is also a Facebook page called My Noah Donohoes, which has updates which are accurate information should you wish to join there to sort of follow and see what's happening in the case. But I think you'll agree it must have been absolute torture and hell for Noah's family, especially his mother Fiona, and hopefully they're that bit closer to getting some answers and hopefully some justice in what happened to Noah. Thanks for watching, guys. Over and out from Lisa Loves.